And a good midday on Saturday. Roger Hill of Wuthering Heights, VELCO Weather Hazards forecaster for this VELCO Weather Outlook. This video is brought to you by 802cars.com, representing 802 Toyota, Twin Cities Subaru, and 802 Honda. They're all located off of Exit 7 on Interstate 89. Quick look at the dust that's coming in off of Africa. It looks like this is the second surge of dust that's kind of working in across the Atlantic now into the Caribbean Basin. The first surge has now made it all the way into the Pacific Ocean, south of Mexico, off the Central American coast, and of course up into the western Gulf of Mexico. A little bit of that has kind of moved off, and you can see just some hints of the last of it that has kind of circulated all the way through the Gulf coastal regions into Florida, and then off the coast of the Carolinas now, where it's circulating around an area of higher pressure. Low pressure is preventing that from getting further to the north, luckily. And what this does is it does prevent, stabilizes the atmosphere considerably. You can see that right along the leading edge here, you can see the little purple here. This is where lightning is being indicated by the telemetry of this visual satellite picture here. And you can see where the thunderstorms are located. Not located basically in the dusty areas. Why? Because that dust stabilizes the atmosphere considerably and really prevents tropical storm formation, and any kind of tropical cyclone formation is kind of squelched out. And with this second area of dust, this is going to keep us basically a little bit high and dry as it looks now for any kind of tropical cyclone development. Good news there. So current conditions across the country right now, we see a lot of cloud cover, and this is preventing any kind of thunderstorm activity. The only exception to that is some thunderstorm activity that's developing across portions of eastern Ontario that may make a track and trying to make a run toward the northwest corner of the state, Champlain Valley. That would happen later on this evening, but I think they're going to die out just before they get into Vermont. It's something utilities should probably monitor over toward the Champlain Islands, and right now it does not look like a huge threat, but there could be an isolated dying thunderstorm working in toward the northern part of Lake Champlain. Temperatures look like this. We're generally running around seasonal norms for daytime highs today. It's a lot more moist off to the south. The indications are for dew point temperatures. The real heavy mugginess is going to hold off until probably later on this evening, and it's going to be with us, although it looks like relatively moderate types of humidity. Not a huge deal there. And convective available potential energy is the fill here. You can see the color. This is where it's really humid, and thunderstorms are expected to develop. Note a little bit up into even parts of Quebec. So a little bit of instability, not a whole lot going on, and it's going to be a little bit limited until we get into this evening and then start what will be some daily thunderstorms pretty much during about noontime through about maybe 8 p.m. Just about each day, starting on Sunday. Tomorrow, this will continue, it looks like, into Wednesday of next week. The next driest day coming, probably not until Thursday, and that's questionable with lowered confidence that far out. And we're going to start off today with the geopotential heights at 500 hectopascals, about halfway of the atmosphere. Lower pressure here in the reds, and higher pressure down here has kind of been the name of the game. Right now we're kind of in a zonal flow from just about due west to east. This is the upper level system that's going to be dropping into our neck of the woods here. This is valid this evening, and I'll show you the progression. This is the upper level low. It's weakening over time, but then it drops into a position. And this is what we call a classic omega block. This is a blocking area of higher pressure that's developing in the basically in central Canada. And you have an area of low pressure on one side, another area of low pressure on the other side, and it makes that Greek letter omega. And you can kind of see the setup here. Now this is the upper level system that's going to be over us. This is valid on Tuesday morning, and you can see it's centered just about right over Vermont. Then it shifts a little bit to the south. By the time we get into Thursday, some slightly drier air is going to push in and end the thunderstorm threat. That'll be pretty much daily, right from Sunday right into Wednesday of next week. Looking at precipitation and pressure patterns and what's going to happen here with the projection of the European model. We have this area of precipitation that's cutting across the Mohawk Valley. This is valid at 2 o'clock this Saturday afternoon. It's going to be making inroads into the southern part of Vermont. It does look like thunderstorm activity is going to stay to the south, but some severe weather is a strong possibility in southern parts of New England. It will stay out of our hair. You can see that system passes. This is valid 8 o'clock this Saturday evening. And then a little bit of maybe some isolated shower and thunderstorm activity tries to make a little bit of a run. This is valid this evening. This is the 6 hours prior to 2 o'clock in the morning. So we're talking later this evening across the very far northern tier. I think these will be basically just rain showers at that point in time. And then we get into our daily diet. This is that upper level low pressure system I talked about that's basically going to be dropping in and sitting and spinning for several days. So this is the setup here starting tomorrow. This is valid about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So that precipitation, we're talking probably the best chances, greater than 0.25 of an inch in a lot of places. And you can see that's one bout, and that carries over into the evening hours. It kind of dries up slowly. And then we have another shot on Monday. And you can see that upper level low is feeding a pretty good fetch here. Incidentally, precipitable water is about 1 to 2 sigma offshore, and then pump and then basically turn a corner and get pulled back in through eastern New England. And that's really what's going to supply the moisture here to make up some nice catch-up rainfall, something we really need. Well, this is a Tuesday afternoon, valid at 5 o'clock. You can see a little bit more of the blues here. This is up to around a ½ inch. This is the European model is what it's indicating. It doesn't mean exactly it's going to happen, but you kind of get the idea here. There could even be a couple nocturnal thunderstorms on Tuesday overnight into Wednesday morning. It's a possibility, not a certainty. And then here's Wednesday's flare-up with more scattered shower and thunderstorm activity in the area. And then finally, along about by the time we get into Thursday, some hints of maybe some convective debris that flares up on Thursday morning, midday. But really, I think things calm down, and it looks like our next basically dry day, a little bit lowered confidence at this point in time. Canadian GFS ensemble shown here. This is 3-hourly QPF, so you can see every day we got some kind of precipitation forecast for the next several days as far as this goes. And how that looks in total QPF is it finally does build up. This is the 1 inch mark at 1.5, and so we make some inroads here, some catch-up precipitation. The other thing I want to show you, lay over convective available potential energy, and you can see that we have several days to come here with greater than 1,500 joules per kilogram. This is significant instability, certainly enough to power up some thunderstorms, so heads up on that. And then going back, 3-hourly QPF, you see how that overlays. Weather Prediction Center, total QPF, you can see that we're talking 1.5 inches in southern parts of New England. That's part and parcel of that system we're talking about today is going to unload pretty good amount of precipitation to the south of Vermont. Maybe just catch the southern couple counties, but again, no thunderstorms in Vermont to worry about today. It's those ones in the northwest corner of the state that could threaten us late this evening. Now, we get into some decent precipitation here. We're talking about 1 inch amounts, and a little bit less further to the west and the northern part of the Champlain Valley sees the least amount of rainfall per the latest European. 2-meter temperatures look like this, so we cool off just a little bit with that upper level system giving us daily chances for showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon and early evening. And then we start to see a little bit of an uptick in temperature, and then probably a little bit of a downtick in temperature. The European and the GFS ensemble, the Canadian ensemble, and some little bit of a disagreement here once we get past toward this coming weekend, which looks like a little bit of a cool-off toward the holiday weekend. Quick look at dew point temperatures. Not a whole lot to see here. Basically, we're going to be in that sort of 60 to 65 degree mode. Occasionally, each evening, maybe getting up a little bit higher than that. That's going to be the most humid part of the day. But we have ample moisture. Hopefully, we can squeeze out some much needed precipitation. Weighted temperatures for Moss, the maximum temperatures over the next 5 days, pretty much neutral, cooler to the north and east, warmer to the south. 3 days later looks like this. We warm up, a little bit of a more significant uptick. Not a whole lot to see here. We're seeing equal chances of above and below normal temperatures off to the north and west of us. This is soil moisture from on the 25th of June from the 31st of May. And the change, you can see just how dry we've become here across a wide area of the northeast U.S. Worst it looks like in northern parts of New Hampshire, northeast Kingdom. Another quick example of that is month to date. This is rainfall so far is barely 50%. It's even lower in a lot of places like my location in Worcester. And then this is the last 30 days. We're still well below normal, the normal line 100% here. And you can see the step ladder, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months even. We finally reached normal. Year to date since January 1st, and then going back 365 days, we're basically at normal where we were well above normal. That has been reduced, of course. And the water year, which starts July 1st to June 31st, basically is here. Quick look at all the counties. As you can see here, this is Addison, Bennington, Caledonia, Chittenden, and so forth. All of the counties of Vermont well below normal, trying to play catch-up. And finally, last but not least, we have no tropical cyclone formation because we have basically this time of year for July, these are where the tropical storms form with the warming of the Atlantic. The mean development region is being overwhelmed with dust. And back to where we started, again, another surge of dust coming in off the Saharan desert, the Sahel of Africa. And you can see this batch here. And this first batch that's made it all the way into North America and even the Pacific Ocean. Quite amazing journey coming all the way from Africa. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Thanks for watching.